Hey guys, so I'm sure you have probably heard by now that for the 3DS edition of Hyrule Warriors, we are going to get um, a female character named Linkle. Um, I've seen people posting that it's the female version of Link. We finally have the female version of Link. So we're going to take a look at this article on Kill Screen, and they are, or at least the writer of this article is obviously not happy with this decision. So we're going to read through and comment as we go along. Nintendo still won't make Link a girl, but they'll put him in a dress and call him Linkle. It's as though she thinks that they just made Link into a cross-dresser, you know? I mean, Link is still going to be in the game, so clearly it would be kind of weird if this was indeed just a female version of Link. I haven't seen it proven yet, but I did read that it's possible from a Japanese guidebook that Linkle is actually either someone that comes from Link's village or his sister. So, I mean, that would be a different enough character. But let's carry on and see what's going on with this. There's no conceivable lore reason for why Link can't be reincarnated as a girl. As the Zelda wiki states, Link is the name shared by the main protagonists of the Legend of Zelda series. There are many different reincarnations and iterations of the Link character, each possessing the spirit of the hero, with some of them being blood-related as well, but most importantly, all Links are connected by the fact that they were chosen by the goddesses to protect the land from evil whenever deemed necessary. I think it's funny that, the story has these goddesses that are so powerful, but that's not enough. We still have to bitch as to why the main character is a male. I mean, that's just the tradition of the series. And why can't Link? No one's saying that Link can't be because of the lore, or maybe some people are. I don't know. But in my view, it's that this is their character. This is Nintendo's character, and it's been tradition. Link was created as a male, so that's what Link is. It doesn't seem that hard to comprehend. I mean, why would your opinion matter? Link is less the name of a specific character and more like the title given to the human who is chosen by the goddess to become the Triforce of Courage reincarnate. So the question is, why can't Link be a girl in one of these many reincarnations? Simple answer to that is they just haven't decided to do that. They didn't want to take the story in that direction yet. I mean, maybe they will someday, or maybe not, and I think either way should be perfectly fine, because ultimately it should be up to the creators. This is actually the screenshot of the guidebook, I believe, that the post I was speaking of earlier was talking about. So given that I don't read Japanese, I'm not sure if there's anything here that would prove what I said, but who knows. Sure, he's always been represented as a white man. Okay, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. I mean, this doesn't even make sense. Link is not a white man. I've never thought of Link as just some white guy. I've always thought of him as like an elf. I mean, the pointed ears kind of lose me on the whole white man thing. I didn't know that white people, walk around with pointed ears. But I guess maybe that's just another one of those stereotypes, such as, those white people and their pointed ears and their bland food. I mean, just what are they thinking? But I think the reasoning behind that design choice is less about the lore and more about the demographic Nintendo has been marketing towards for the past 3 decades. As series producer Anuma explains to Kotaku, the main character of Zelda isn't actually Link, it's the player. The silent protagonist is meant to serve as an empty stand for the player to project himself into. Link is the link, get it? Between the presumably male player and his virtual world. Okay. I mean, that's really stupid too, though, because just because a character is not the same sex as you means you can't relate. I mean, I've loved many games that feature female characters. Even when it comes to games that have character creation, There's a lot of times where I will choose to make a female character. So I don't really understand what they're trying to say here. I mean, does this make me trans because I happen to like to play as a different biological sex than I was born as? I mean, I don't know what you're going for here. I mean, I know what you're going for, but I think it's bullshit. If you need more proof that Link's maleness is his maleness is a business decision rather than one made in the best interest of the series, just look at the excuse for why Link can't be a girl in the main game. There are actually many female characters you can play as in Hyrule Warriors. We've introduced Midna, we've introduced Princess Zelda and Impa as well. Let's see what happens with Hyrule Warriors. If as a result of there being more female protagonists, more women pick up the game, I'm all for it, so I've decided to see what happens with this title. Well, your complaint is pretty dumb right here. I mean, basically, the only problem that you've been able to come up with so far is, oh, well, it's Link and he's a man and he's the main character and this has to change. Meanwhile, you're completely ignoring the fact that, as the one of the guys here said, that you can play as many female characters. So why isn't that good enough? I mean, Princess Zelda, Midna, Impa, what's wrong with these characters? Why is it that they're not good enough? You know, your complaint makes no sense. It's not like there's no playable females. And even if there wasn't, perhaps that's just the direction the game goes. I mean, nobody is complaining that you don't have a male playable lead in, you know, the new Tomb Raider or whatever. Now, as far as I know, there isn't one, so maybe if there is, I just don't know enough about the game. But you get where I'm going with this. You know, if we were to complain, well, I don't want to play as a female in Metroid, well, Samus is the main character, so you're kind of fucking stuck. And if you don't like that, you should go pick up another game, not bitch at the developers until they change the gender of the character. Well, it looks like there must have been at least a few ladies who took Nintendo up on their generous offer to buy more Nintendo games if they bothered representing their gender. At the Nintendo Direct yesterday, the company announced that its female experiment would continue, revealing an original character. I like how they put original character in quotes there as if it's not really an original character. Named Linkle for the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors Legends. Oh god, that unique Nintendo brand of faux progressivism. Yes, Nintendo, you horrible, regressive pieces of trash. Yet, while most media coverage congratulated Nintendo for finally making a female version of the famed character an option, the actual context of Linkle's existence reeks of that unique Nintendo brand of faux progressivism. It might sound good on paper, but in practice only shows how little Nintendo actually understands about what the problem is. This links to another article, but it's pretty stupid. I think it links to people bitching about the no gay marriage option. That's what it seems like from the hover link, but whatever. As Anita Sarkeesian might point out, of all people, Linkle is a classic example of the Miss Male character trope. I don't think that's true. Let's continue on first, though. Originating with Miss Pac-Man, another classic Japanese title. Nice proofreading there, by the way. The Miss Male character is a female version of an already established or default male character. Miss Male characters are defined primarily by their relationship to their male counterparts via visual properties, narrative connection, or occasionally through promotional materials. It's a trope that describes how, in an attempt to appeal to the wallets of their female demographic, male game designers will often reduce women to a bow, a skirt, and or lipstick. There is virtually no distinction between the original male character and the Miss Male character other than superficial, stereotypical, gendered aesthetic changes. All right, so this article is hypocritical. Right in the beginning, why can't Link be a female? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you are taking this character as a female version of Link, but now you're complaining that it's a female version of Link based on the very reasoning of what it is that you claimed you wanted. So it doesn't even make sense. And furthermore, it doesn't make sense because this is not, I don't think this is supposed to be just a female Link. Okay, yes, you can argue the name, but I think the name is more for cutesy purposes. This is another character, excuse me, with different abilities, different weapons, and obviously female. In Linkle's reveal video, the announcer introduces her by saying she looks quite familiar, except, for the skirt and braids and tits. Oh, well, what else are we supposed to do to make it clear that she's a female? I mean, who would have guessed that you would give her attributes that belong to the opposite sex, the female sex? True to form, Linkle dual wields crossbows instead of wielding the usual Master Sword, ensuring that no one confuses her for being an actual, real, legitimate Hero of Time Link. So this is bullshit again, because just before you were claiming, oh, it's just a female version of Link, there's no differences, blah. But now that there's a fucking difference, you're complaining about that. So make up your mind. Do you want a character that is distinguishable, or do you want the gender swap? Which one is it? Her moves mimic things like Link's spin attack, only with the decidedly less awesome and physically improbable animation of her killing enemies by shoving her crossbow in their face multiple times without reloading once. I mean, Jesus, even the name Linkle sounds like the linguistic version of putting a boy in a dress. It's clumsy, it's lazy, and it's exceedingly pandering. Once again, that's what you have determined. You've also said decidedly less awesome and physically improbable. Well, this is a video game. First of all, it's personal opinion what you find awesome, and second, who gives a shit if it's realistic, because this is a Legend of Zelda game we're talking about. That fantasy game where you think white men have pointy ears. I can't deal with these people. The female version of Link that Nintendo is willing to make a financial chance, or take a financial chance on rather, can't be even given her own proper Hyrule Warriors game. Let's recap. She's a knockoff of their male main protagonist, which is exactly what you're asking for when you say we want to play as a female Link. Featured in a ported 3DS version of a spin-off game of the original Zelda series. But hey, you might say, at least they're selling a limited Linkle edition of the game, which includes her iconic compass, right? Doesn't that show Nintendo is giving this character at least a little weight? Yes, but I just know that in this very next paragraph, they're going to say no, and they're going to go on some long diatribe about why it's not. Well, no. Because promotional marketing is the only reason why the Miss Male character trope even exists. I mean, who would have guessed that promotional marketing would be important to selling your video games? Really? Nintendo isn't willing to bet their main Zelda series dollars on a female Link. Or could it be that, Legend of Zelda has always starred a main character that's a male named Link? But they've heard your concerns and are more than willing to take your money for a female reskin. Once again, who would have thought company that makes video games is out to make money? I mean, you can argue about companies being progressive and all that bullshit, but at the end of the day, that's what companies do. They try to make money. So I hardly feel like most of the companies that fucking pride themselves on being these bastions of progress actually believe the bullshit that they sell. They sell it because they know it's popular. Let's not forget that special and limited editions of games are meant to appeal to niche and target audiences, which is exactly what Nintendo sees their female players as, a niche audience to be pandered to for more money. Once again, I mean, companies are out for money. I don't know why that you're acting like this is new or a problem. But while young female Nintendo fans may even now already be begging their parents to buy them a limited Linkle edition of the Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS, their impulse to buy stemming from a deep desire to finally see themselves represented as the hero of time for once. Those girls will actually be getting much less than that. Are you fucking kidding me? She's acting like every single girl that wants this is like, finally, I can be the hero Link. And you don't even know. Like, you don't know what their motivation for wanting the game is. They could just be like, oh, look at that pretty sweet-looking character that I want to play as. I mean, not everybody plays video games to see themselves represented. I don't even know where this bullshit came from, where all of a sudden everybody at all times has to see themselves represented. I've never felt myself represented accurately by a character in a video game. And you know what? I've never even wanted to. It seems silly. I play video games and as different characters to leave the real world. If I want to see myself, I'll go look in a fucking mirror. Because Nintendo is essentially asking these women and girls to pay more money in order to earn the privilege of participating in a pseudo-market demographic test. Are you kidding me? I mean, limited editions are a thing, and if there's something new and exciting about that game, surely they will um, target that aspect to sell more products. Okay, I think we're almost done here, but holy shit, this is stupid. Here's the bottom line that Nintendo refuses to see. When people ask why can't Link be a girl, they're not asking for the option to maybe play as a girl who looks like Link in the game with a Zelda-related tie. Oh, they're not. Now we're asking for something different. They're not asking for the girls to be kept to the side, marginalized to a lesser product and project. So now you're calling the 3DS lesser when, if I'm not mistaken, the 3DS and like the DS in general, I believe it's more popular than the Wii U. I mean, I don't have numbers in front of me or anything, but maybe up until Mario Maker or the Smash Brothers, I think that 3DS has been a big seller for Nintendo. So to act like getting a game on there or getting a character in one of those games is sidelining, I mean, that's dishonest at best. Instead, they're asking why, amidst an otherwise female-centric mythology about three goddesses and a badass princess, must the hero character always be a boy? I love this. You call it very female-centric mythology, you acknowledge the three goddesses, you call the princess a badass, and for some reason, the only problem you can nitpick is that the hero is always a boy. So let's do a little flipping here. Let's say we make the hero character a girl. Are you going to be okay with turning those goddesses into gods and that badass princess? How about she becomes a prince? Is that going to be all right? Because I'm just trying to keep score of what's going on here. Why is it okay to ask female players to identify with Link despite their gender differences, but at the same time have it be inconceivable to ask male players to do the same? Once again, nobody has come out and flat out said, oh, these boys don't want to play as a female Link. I'm pretty sure that The Legend of Zelda is popular enough that you could fuck it up pretty bad. And I'm not saying having a female Link would be a fuck up. I'm just saying in general, you could do some... Nintendo could probably get away with some shit before somebody is like, hey, Legend of Zelda sucks now. You know, I hardly think that if they really truly wanted to do this girl is the hero story, I think they could get away with it without this backlash that you're acting like there would be. The saddest part about Nintendo's refusal to legitimately consider making the protagonist of a main Zelda game female is that it could do wonders for a classic series that's grown very, very tragically stale. Excuse me. Of course, I'm choking on my... Well, anyway, look. All right. So, refusal to legitimately consider making the... But there's no reason for them to do this. Once again, why do they have to... You talk about how Linkle is pandering. Well... Wouldn't it be a whole other level of pandering if they decided to just change the hero arbitrarily to a girl? I mean, well, no, not even arbitrarily. I mean, you're asking for this, and then if you get it, how is that not going to be pandering? Because apparently, so many people are asking for this female hero of time. It doesn't make sense to me because basically you're trying to dictate somebody else's creation, and I feel like that's such... It's bullshit. You're imposing your ideals on somebody else's vision, on somebody else's story, and it's not right. Bogged down by slavish adherence to formula, like most franchises, recent Zelda games have only gotten more sanitized as the years went on. I'm not going to click that. Once again, another link. Get it, Link? Imagine what a shake-up to the world a female Link would present. It could transform the now tired storyline of a hero and princess, could bring new types of art styles and themes and motifs to the table. Yeah, you say that, but judging from what's happening here, you would still find a way to bitch about why it's problematic and why it's not good enough. But even as Nintendo begrudgingly and tentatively inches towards possibly entertaining the idea of maybe creating a female hero of time, I like how she knows, you know, exactly what it is that they're feeling. Oh, Nintendo, they're begrudgingly doing it. No, if they didn't want to create this character and put her in the game, they wouldn't have done it. They also managed to sidestep one of their most fantastic secondary female characters in the process. Tetra will be joining Linkle on the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors Legends, begging the question, why the hell wasn't she in the original Hyrule Warriors in the first place? Tetra is unequivocally one of the best iterations of Zelda the series has ever known, bringing an undeniable charm and spice to Wind Waker. She's a character that goes to show just how much Nintendo could gain from breaking the typical gender conventions they force their two archetypal main characters to abide by, and she seems included as an afterthought to the venerable Miss Link. How can you say that? I mean, if they're adding the character, how is it an afterthought? At the very least, we can take Linkle as a sign of progress and that Nintendo is being somewhat forced to address the glaring holes in their anti-fem Link logic. You act like they hate women. You act like they hate the idea of female characters in a game that's littered with them, in a lore that you say is female-centric. Where does the anti-fem part come in? But while on the surface, it might seem like Linkle is a cause for celebration. Oh, here it comes. You might also pause to consider the fact that it's almost 2016 and we're still dealing with this horse shit. Now, what I find hard to believe is that we're still dealing with this horse shit, where people are still taking this shit seriously. You ended an article with one of the biggest fucking cliches ever. Oh, insert year here. I can't still believe this is happening. Who gives a fuck if it's 2015, 2016, 2095, 2647? Who gives a fuck? The time has nothing to do with it. This is The Legend of Zelda. It's always been about Link, that crazy little white man with pointy ears that you claim, does nothing but rescue princesses and oppress female players. This is insane to me. And I feel like at this point, these people write these articles for shock value, to get people riled up, to try to prove that there's this anti-female character narrative, when in fact we've had so many great female characters over the years. And it's not the baiting that pisses me off. It's the intellectual dishonesty where they try to act like there are no good female characters. There are no female leads. You know, there's so many other series out there where there's a female hero. If you don't like that Link is a male, which kind of makes you sound like a sexist in your own right, you have other options and you should really go and fucking play them instead of bitching about somebody else's creation. In fact, why don't you take it a step further and try to make your own creations? But no, that takes real work. So let's just write articles about how Nintendo is anti-female character or some bullshit like that, even though the game is full of them and you yourself admit that it's a female-centric mythology, which the game takes place in. All right, well, that's enough ranting out of me. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.